I just didn't even say anything. I just revealed you. Ha ha ha.
Good morning. It's Monday, Tuesday, whatever day.
I got confused. I just. Okay, I'll explain in a second. Hi, welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca. Yay.
Okay, we've had issues of people putting stuff away in the wrong place. So I came over here and I'm like, this is DK and it should be over in the 4-ply. And then I'm like, wait, everything else under it's DK. No, it's in the right place.
So not a thing. So not a thing.
Maybe I'm having issues. Hi, how are we all doing today? Look, before I sit down, look at the progress on my Ranunculus. Look at that. Nice, big, open, floofy, like it's supposed to be. I have updates on things I tried. So, but now it's really clear. 2 skeins of yarn from here to sleeve separation and continuing only got me to here. And I didn't want this to be cropped. So I have plans, I have thoughts. Anyway, I have things to talk about on this, but I don't have to talk about them first. So
did we say who we are?
No, because I'm so excited about this. Hi. See, she keeps me on track. I'm Rebecca. I'm the collar fiddler. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in deceptively sunny and very cold for this time of year, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
I mean, I shouldn't say very cold. It's just cold.
And the reason
very cold would be like 20s teens.
The reason I asked was I thought you'd already said and I forgot to say, or I wasn't sure if I said or not. It's Monday.
Hi. Look at your hair, Liz.
It's all zombied.
It's all zombie. That's super cute. She redid her hair this weekend. That was her big accomplishment. I'm gonna fiddle with this now today.
It's all zombie.
That's really cool. I almost use words I don't want to use on a family-friendly show.
I have been told it looks like Easter, and I mean it's all pastel-y. Yeah, I mean
there's some neon green in there, but I do not associate that with Easter.
Zombie and Easter and Christmas, like all kind of.
Well, I could see the Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's Christmas, but I could see someone trying to make it Christmas. It's the wrong color green.
It's
some
like
of it was in
green. Some of it was in Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. That's the thing about the stuff you make. You can mix and match.
3 sets of different zombie.
It's really long this time too.
Is
it longer?
The same long that.
Seems really long this time. I don't know. And you got some that's braided all the way down, and you have some that's only braided in and then floofy, and then. That's very exciting. Where's your hair? It's on your head.
Well, no, I have add-ins. So
that's the braided all the way down.
Those are
is that
Lorna's
zombie
Laces Zombie Apocalypse.
Yay! That Zombie Apocalypse 2020.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I threw in some purple and black and green and red and
that's fun.
Guess
what Liz did this weekend? Oh, I'm so excited about this. This is fun. I'm excited about your hair too, but your hair's not on my head. So.
No. On the plus side, I've gotten it down to about 8 hours.
As opposed to?
9 to 12.
Ooh. That would have meant like no sleep last night.
No. I did a lot of dawdling this weekend. So not that I got anything done, but you know.
Does dawdling mean like knitting
surfing
and crocheting?
My phone.
Sometimes you can't knit like for forever because then your hands and your arms, and we know a knitter who might have like tennis elbow maybe from knitting, and you know it breaks are good. Breaks from life, breaks from knitting, breaks from
I did start a new project while I was dyeing my hair. I know it doesn't like me. It's off of a blog post.
I started a new project too. I'll show you later. What?
It's off of a blog post, but I had a baby dress when
I was gonna say it looks like a baby dress.
It is a baby dress.
Are you making a baby dress?
It comes in adult sizes.
It's like your little doily around your neck. What are you doing?
No, I had a baby dress when I was little. Somebody crocheted me a baby dress, and it's the chevrons, and it was red and white. And they made one for my sister 2 years later. And
so you could be matchy matchy.
Yeah, and our daughters have worn the baby dresses when they were little, and I have been searching for a pattern to make one. Just like I want just a chevron-y top and tunic length, maybe, probably not. But anyway, so I finally found.
I'm just gonna let her tell her story. It's great.
And so I started that while I was dyeing my hair and waiting for it to dry. And
so is it gonna be like 2 pieces you sew together?
No, it's all in the round.
Oh, they just have 2 of them there, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all in the round. I'm not putting the belt thingy on it, but this is.
Disclaimer, she's using yarn that's not from the shop, but we have equivalents.
Yeah.
That's the top of it?
It's lace, yeah.
It's gonna be like wide boat neck.
You can crochet it a little tighter.
Oh, I see, because I'm looking at her picture. It has like it could be like an off the shoulder number.
Yeah,
or a drapey on the shoulder number.
Yeah, you build several chevrons down, and then you quit and just do the kind of like a raglan sweater. Anyway, so I'm doing it out of lace on an F, and she doesn't have like how big the sizes are supposed to be. So it's just like baby through adult extra large. And I was like, I'll do the extra large. Yeah. So,
oh my.
So anyway, if it's too big, I'll just pull it out and start again. But she has the starting chains. Like, this is how many chains you need for each size. And I was like, okay, I want it big and loose. So big and loose it is. And I'm doing it on an F because I couldn't find a G. And actually, I could find a G, but they were all boye hooks, and they're the wrong millimeter size.
I have the opposite. If we're doing like non-ranunculus projects first, I may have started one too. And I have the opposite issue with this one. This one is knitting with just a little bit of crochet. And the little bit of crochet, I was like, uh-oh, because I really wanted to start this. And I found my hook set that has like 3 hooks in it. I don't know where the others are. I'm horrible at organization. Exhibit A.
I have a billion hooks somewhere at home and couldn't find.
This project, I got gauge on a 6 when it's written for a 7. And the mythological 7 is the smallest crochet hook I could find. So my bobbles are on a 7. But this, look how pretty it is.
That looks cool.
Oh my gosh. And I don't think the bobbles are, bobbles. The bobbles are puff stitches with a crochet hook. So let me put it close here. And bobbles with a crochet hook look puffy and irregular and kind of funky regardless. So I don't think the size would change very much with a 0.5 millimeter. So it's this lacy top. I showed y'all when we were talking about the Jody Long and said, well, maybe I'll do this. And I totally did. and I started binging the Great British Baking Show, which I hadn't started yet. Shocker. Because I'm looking for something just have on the background. And so Saturday or Sunday, like I just started churning the sucker out. It's like, I think it will feel really nice in this material because it's cotton with a little bit of cashmere. There's some places where I'd wish there was a little more give to the yarn, but for a frilly, like it's going to have frilly sleeves for a t-shirt top thing like that. It'll be a little warm, the more animal fiber that's in it. So the stitches are not all perfect. I'm finding that one side, the yarn, the lace part is not as tight as the other side. And I can't quite explain why, but I'm not worried about it. Either it's gonna even out with blocking. Like one of them I could see, because I think you're going from a yarn over to a purl stitch, and that yarn over can get really big when you go from a knit stitch yarn over purl stitch. But that doesn't explain why the ones stacking on top of it where there's a knit stitch on both sides are still coming out kind of gappy. I'm not super worried about it though. Overall, yes.
Is it kind of like when you were doing your knit 2 purl 2 ribbing where you have to purl 1 through the back loop? Because since you're not doing this in the round,
it could be. Well, but the yarn overs always happen on the right side.
Well, yes, the yarn overs happen on the right side, but what I'm saying is because you're purling across the back of it.
Yes, but I'm purling across both sides. So why one is coming out like this, like you can see, right?
Yeah.
These are looser than this side. Like one side's just tighter than the other. And I'm just going to be okay with it. I've noted it. I'm not ripping it out. I'm not trying to fix it. I know that the biggest hole over, it could just be because they are stacking on top of that bigger first hole. I have the Glimmer poncho has yarn overs that are right before purls, and she says purl that really tight, and I'm trying to, but with a yarn that doesn't have a lot of give, it is what it is. It still looks pretty, and I'm still really excited that this has lace work. It has huge chunky 10 stitch cables. It has bobbles. Bobbles are not my favorite, but doing them as a puff stitch in crochet is kind of fun. So for people who both knit and crochet, woohoo! And all the ribbing here, it's the number of ribs here that change the size. Everything else is the same. It's a number of ribs here and here that change the size of this. The ribbing is done through the back loop, either knitting or purling, depending on the size you're on. So it has a nice stitch definition to that. So this is going to be, as you can tell, this is really wide, right? And one person in her notes, she said, well, the pattern, it's your bust size and not the finished size. And I'm like, is it? Because the way the picture is drawn, it doesn't say your bust circumference. It doesn't say finished either for the sizes, but it has a picture with a circle, you know, on the garment for measurement B, which is the one to pick for what to make. And it's drop shoulder. So that circumference, I picked the one that's like, I actually went down because I picked the one that was like 51 because it wanted like 6 to 8 inches of positive ease.
Yeah.
And I'm maybe a 43. And like last time I measured. And so I was like, the 51 is bigger, but and then I cast those stitches on and went, so I backed down to like the 48. And I don't know if this is actually going to be 48 or not, but the drop shoulder, like there's just little frilly cap sleeves that are going to be on this. This is the back, but it's meant to be wider than you are because it goes down. You know, there's very little shaping. In fact, the short rows have already been done on this at the very top. As you can see, like the top's a little higher than the sides. You can maybe see. So the shoulder shaping is already in there just a little bit. And I'm gonna come down to the armhole, and then it has you pick up stitches across the shoulders and do the front down to the armhole. And then it's gonna be joined in the round, and I'll be knitting in the round. And we'll see if the lace work changes noticeably at that point. Like you're saying,
yeah,
the doing it flat versus in the round. I don't even know, but I just was fascinated by this, and I'm loving working with this. I want to say I'm probably already through half a skein or so. And even though I should have been working on these, should is a shame word, I ought to have been, maybe. I still made some progress, but this is just fun. And with the Great British Baking Show, I went back to the earliest season on Netflix so I could have the longest, you know,
the longest
run of watching shows. So I basically binged one season. I've just started season 5. I'm starting series 5. I think they call it over across the pond. I think I'm about to start series 6. Well, I am starting. I think the think part is we're trying to remember the numbers. I think if I remember correctly, I'm on my 2nd episode of series 6 as of last night. I couldn't keep watching because the cat decided to sit on the remote. So when that went to the home screen, I just let it be because I wasn't digging under my cat because he wasn't feeling well yesterday. He
was a hot mess.
He was a hot mess. I'm hoping he's better today. He has upchucked both hairballs and food and a little bit of butterscotch wrapper that he decided to snack on. And somehow he thought he'd feel better if he snacked on the other half, which I got away from him before he swallowed it. But the final mess I had cleaned up for the night had the first half in it. And I was like, that's why you're gonna feel again. His meow sounded like he had laryngitis. I'm like, you're gonna feel like that for a little bit. Those things aren't supposed to go in your tummy.
No.
Plastic, throat,
Yeah.
tummy. So yeah, I hope he's better today. He worried me a little last night, but he almost attacked me this morning. So that means he's hopefully feeling better. Anyway, this was my non-ranunculus fun this weekend. I really hope I don't stall out on it like a lot of my other projects right now. But so very little got done on your ranunculi, which is fine.
Nothing got done on my ranunculi.
She was working on her hair. I realized the last time this was in morning meditation before this morning, I was up here on this sleeve. So I guess I've gotten a little bit of work done.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But sometimes monotonous knitting can go really fast. So especially when you have something fun on in the background. That doesn't require too much concentration. So I really wanted to get videos done for this part, for the end of the sleeves. So I really chunked that out this weekend. And I have just started my second sleeve. So let me talk about, so the tutorial videos, I made 3 tutorial videos this weekend. Someday I'll sleep. I made one for if you're doing just the short sleeves on, that's my other sample that I wear sometimes. My maroon sample has the absolute shortest sleeves that she's written it for, which is just binding off. And then when you're casting on, that one actually takes 2 rows instead of just one. I'd forgotten about this, but I made a little sample out of super bulky yarn. And it's kind of sad looking. It doesn't have a whole yoke. It just starts like right here, like just a few rows of knitting, and then let's see what happens. On the first round, you bind off the stitches, and that's it. You bind off stitches and you knit the rest of the way around, and bind off stitches and knit the rest of the way around. So there's a huge gap. There's like nothing connecting right here.
Yeah. And
then the second row, you cast on the stitches. Like that was all done with one in one pass when you put them on holders, but it's done with 2 passes when you bind off. And I'd forgotten about that. So I made a video on that on Sunday, and then I made 2 videos on Monday because I was at the right spot to do them right after each other. So her long sleeves, she says to go to 7 inches, which is really like a half sleeve. And I decided I wanted this a little bit longer because this is my worsted weight and I want it to be kind of a fall spring. So I went to 3/4 inch. I said that 3 or 4 times when I was filming. My brain didn't catch I was saying 3/4 inch instead of 3/4 sleeve. Every single time you did. Yeah, you didn't even like, yeah, right?
It was like, wait, something, maybe, no.
I said that every single time I filmed. When I meant 3/4 length, I said 3/4 inch. My brain. So I kept going. I went to about 11, 12 inches for this. And you can make it whatever length you want. That's the thing. You could do little cap sleeves. I could just do ribbing right here and call it done. That's when you get to experiment. You don't have to follow every single part of her instructions exactly as written. If you do the half sleeve, the 7 inches, I think is supposed to take you to about your elbow. And then she has a diagonal cuff line, which I think is supposed to, like, if you take a look, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think it's supposed to be, so it's higher on the inside of your elbow, but it drapes down to the bottom of your elbow. Like it has a little like holder for your elbow. How cute. I did it on the longer 3/4 length sleeves, but the cool thing about my color changing is you can totally see that the short rows make this side longer than this side. See how there's like no yellow there on this one? There's yellow over here. It's because there is shaping. And then the adventure came, and I think I'm pulling on this enough. I am, yeah, because I sat on it. Hang on. and I just yanked harder.
You have like this ginormous string.
I have ginormous string because I wasn't sure if I was keeping this, but it's pulling out my cast on edge right now because I didn't bind it off completely. I didn't seal it. I will fix that later. I have a lot of things to fix. We got stories about this side too. So her ending, whether you're doing straight or diagonal, her ending for this, she does an I-cord bind off, and she also does a pretty severe decrease of stitches because like all of this, there's a classic sleeve and a lot of sweaters has decreases as you go to taper your sleeve. She just has you go straight, and then she has you decrease to probably make like a cute little balloon sleeve and do an I-cord bind off. Now, this yarn that I'm using is cotton and has very little stretch to it. So the first time I tried this on camera, decreasing 1/3 of my stitches and then doing an I-cord bind off, and an I-cord bind off has like very little stretch to it too. If you want a stretchy cuff that you can push and roll and flip up and fold, you really want to do ribbing. That has stretch to it. An I-cord, minimal stretch. It's pretty looking, minimal stretch. So I followed her instructions, and if I was gonna, I haven't sewn this together either, but if I was gonna sew it together, it was going to be way too tight, especially if it had been sitting at my elbow.
Yeah.
But that, again, I said in the video, I don't think that's a problem with the pattern. I think that is a problem, pattern combined with yarn. And she also wants you to go down needle sizes to do that too, from a 10 to an 8. So what I did, I used my double points to try them on the 8, but I ended up pulling it back out. Excuse me. I ended up pulling it back out after I did it following the instructions, and I didn't do the decreases. I just changed needle sizes. So it got a little smaller, but not a ton. And I did the I-cord bind off, and I think I'm going to be really happy with that because I got some meatiness right here that wasn't going to work with 1/3 reduction of stitches. So the other thing you might notice, this is not fading. Like if the fade continued, I'd be heading into bright yellow and orange. And instead, because I have to figure out what to do here, I'm going to use the remainder of that skein and start with the red here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to take it all the way to the yellow. I might. It depends on the length I want to get. But I'm thinking it's going to go to the yellow, and then it's going to go back to red with the end of this, what's left from doing this sleeve. So it's going to have the blue here, and then the rest of it, it isn't going to keep with the, it's going to keep fading, but it's not going to keep fading the whole skein, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I decided I used what I pulled out of the center to do my I-cord bind off. And I kind of like it. I like the bright yellow with the bright blue. I think that looks really cool right there. I still have blue left over from that skein. I still have a little bit of blue. So there is the option of, if these don't get me to the length I want, I could finish it in bright blue, but that would be bright blue next to the red.
You could bind off.
Just the row of bind off in bright blue.
Yeah.
I will think about it because it's not an I-cord bind off at the bottom of this. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can change it.
That is the nice thing about knitting is if you do it and it doesn't fit, or it's not the right length, or
oh yeah, exactly. You can,
you can.
I had an apostrophe, but I don't want to interrupt.
No, I'm done.
The other thing about this being so tight is I picked a size 5 for this, which is a little snugger than the one I made before and not as loose as the big guide that I'm making here. So it could also be the size that I picked is affecting how the sleeve fits. None of this is magic and guaranteed. It's just fun that you can potentially start on a 10 and have it work. So the one thing I will say is, since I'm trying to make all these videos, there is a bind off she suggests for the bottom of the ribbing. And that's the last thing I think I have left to make a video about. So I'm probably going to do the bind off that's written in the pattern. And whether I want to do that in blue, I'll see when I get there.
Well,
it's a thought.
it could give, at least for the video, it could give you something cool to, you know, because then they could see the two different sets of stitches.
I will consider. What I did for this, with changing the color, is she has a row of, when you're at the right spot, she has a row of knitting with decreases, and then the I-cord bind off. And to make the I-cord bind off as color consistent as possible, changing colors right there. I did the regular row of knitting, the first row in the yellow. I did what originally was the decrease row, but I backed out and did just a row of knitting in the blue. I did the setup row before the I-cord bind off in the blue, so that all the stitches involved in the I-cord bind off, because you're starting to grab one of the stitches from that row at a time with each pass. That gave me a setup row of blue with which to also do the I-cord bind off. So just FYI on that. This guy I'm not going to put on today, but I was so close. I had an ambition and goal, and then I made multiple videos with this of finishing this first skein. See how little I have left?
Oh yeah.
So and this I was realizing as I was posting about it this week, it's only 50 grams of this the lace weight Mayu lace. Same yardage though as fingering weight, 100 grams. So that means, and this was I'm making like a size 8 for this. That means in theory, your size, what is going on here? Your size 8 with fingering weight could get you, I've got it sticking through random spots on this thing.
Do we have a scale?
Of course we have a scale. I don't know where it is. I don't even know if this is going to show up on a scale.
Well, that wasn't what I was looking for, but
they're over there somewhere. There might be one over here, but I don't know. There we go. This is all 150 gram skein of yarn, or I think 100 gram skein of fingering weight would get you this much. I have, what are you weighing? What are you weighing?
I'm weighing mine because I'm doing, now I'm doing a slightly bigger needle, but I'm on round 34, which is right before I set up raglan, and I have this much. So I want to weigh and see how much.
Science. Well, math.
I have 64 grams, so over half a ball, and I'm just getting ready
and
to start
the raglan increases. You're not quite to sleeve separation, but I bet you could still have 50 grams left at sleeve separation.
Yeah,
potentially, of your fingering weight. So I am about 5 inches from the armhole on this, and I can probably make a few more rounds out before I have to start my next. I told you it's not even going to register.
Nope. Oh wait.
I might call this a gram. Is it off?
It's off.
2 grams, maybe. We'll find out. It really doesn't register.
It doesn't register.
So this is like less than a gram of yarn right now. But I can get maybe another row or so out before I have to switch yarns. But it's definitely, I want it longer than this. I'm not going for crop with either one of these, but look, isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. I am not planning on going over 2 skeins of yarn for this though. So what I will probably do with that one is when I get to the length I like and bind off, then I will take what's left and divide it in 2, and that's how long my sleeves will be. And if there's a couple things I could do, like I kind of like the idea of balloon sleeves, but I also like the idea with this one of having like floofy sleeves, which could mean just going straight, because I know the armholes are bigger on my other one. So it could mean just going straight with that and seeing if they fluff. Maybe doing an I-cord bind off on that one. I think the sleeves that look a little more frilly of the ones you see on Ravelry, they may have done increases to make them as such. And that's something I couldn't tell you what to do because I haven't done it very often. And it's trial and error of how often you want to increase rather than decrease to get the flowy, floofy thing going on. There's not necessarily an exact formula to it because depending on the thickness of your yarn, you'll get different effects.
Yep.
I like this one just being roomy and open, and I think I can finish this one pretty soon.
That one looks really, really cool.
It's been exciting to just be like, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just keep going. So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to show y'all for today. I think the Ranunculus stuff is enough. And in a few minutes, we're going to have to go open the shop. But all kinds of progress. Because again, I realized about a week ago, I was here. So I got this. We had someone on the knit along page say they had stalled out on their Ranunculus and then they picked it back up again for this, or they started a new one and got it done in like 2 days, which is totally possible. But please, it's not a competition. If it's taking you longer, it's okay. I remember my first one going a lot quicker than I thought it would. Well, that's a relative term though for everybody.
And for some, you go faster on things you want to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you're like, ooh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yay. And the more monogamous you are with that, the more quickly it gets done.
And if it's not exciting for you, yeah, it'll slow down. If it's a slog, and for some people this may be a slog, and I get it, you know.
And it depends on how much time a day you have to dedicate to knitting.
There's so many factors. Someone who joined this morning had a comment of, I was doing this as a knit along in the past and I fell behind, so I stopped. And that's why I don't like to do knit alongs with deadlines, with a you should be here, you should be there. Some of these videos that I'm making, people are already done, so I'm behind in helping them. I'm trying to make the videos so whenever you decide to try this top, the help is there, rather than, well, you missed this week, I can't help you anymore. Because that's one way to do it, is this week we're focusing on this element. That there's ways to try to make it work when there's lots of people participating and one teacher or one organizer, and that a schedule is one of those. And we're trying not to do schedules because I'm not a fan of homework. And I fully recognize everybody knits at their own pace and the various reasons we've just given for that to happen, right? So,
well, and the only competition that you and I even think about is who's winning.
Is between the two of us.
Between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like,
self-imposed.
The next knit along we have discussed is socks. I'm still working on 4 ranunculi and I've already bought yarn for more. So my ranunculus knitting is probably going to continue for a while.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. And some of mine that I'm stalling out a bit more on, we'll see. I'll take my time, or I'll get them done. So, but that's only because I have a million other things to work on. So
I'll squirrel and find a million. I have a million.
And we both started new projects
million
this weekend. So
yeah.
You know. Anyway, speaking of that, the anxiety of the day is starting to creep up on me. So we have a lot to do because the crawl is only 2 weeks away, people. The Western North Carolina yarn crawl is 2 weeks away. And there's still a lot of hopes and dreams I have of things to get done and things to bring into the shop. And at some point I will just have to, what is the phrase? Let go and let go. You know, like what happens will happen. But I'm going to keep my control fist on it as long as possible.
The letting go will happen on March 3rd.
May 3rd.
May 3rd. Sorry.
I know
May 3rd. It will be like, well,
no, that whole week I'll still be like, but what if, and what can I refill? And the letting go might happen on May 8th because the crawl is May 3rd through 7th. No, May 8th is when
moved on to other things.
May 8th is when I'll do this next year will happen. So we also have local yarn store day coming up April 30th. Ooh, let me show you real fast.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to say thank you. In a week, we got 30 subscribers.
New subscribers. We're already having to ponder what happens if we hit 900 before the crawl or during the crawl. What? We just had our 800 sale.
Last week, I was like,
what?
oh, it'll be the middle end of May, maybe. And now it's looking like 30 in a week.
Oh my
People,
gosh.
we love you. Thank you. This is awesome.
Please subscribe if you haven't already. But yes, now we're gonna actually, I mean, we thought we'd have to put off the 800 sale till after the crawl, and then we hit it so fast we just did it. I really don't think we can do the 900 sale before the crawl.
If we do 30 a week, we're looking at during the yarn crawl week, and that's
so
not
we're gonna say, well, because I'm not even sure if we're gonna be able to film in any substantial way during the crawl. Like if we do, it's not gonna be this long. So it could be, oh my gosh, we hit it and the sale is not yet. I'm gonna ask everyone for patience on that one. So returning to local yarn store day. Casa Pinka, it's April 30th, it's a Saturday. Casa Pinka, every year we've done local yarn store day, has designed a shawl for local yarn store day. And her generosity is if you buy from a local yarn shop, we get to give you a code for the pattern for free. And this is the teeny tiniest of beginnings of my Rick Rack. She has finally released publicity photos. And hers is like always pink and green, these light pink and greens that we don't really have in the shop. So people say, I want that. And I'm like, we can't do that, but we can do something else. So this is the Rick Rack for 2 colors of fingering weight. I am working with one of my friend Indie Dyers to see if we can get special colorways for the shop, as well as making colorways from what we already have in the shop. So stay tuned for that. We can do this for people from far away because when we start selling the patterns, and the code probably won't work until that day, but we can email you a code. You can buy yarn from afar on that day, and we can email you a code so you can get the pattern for free, because there's a limited window to get the free pattern. And then you can start the shawl when the yarn comes, and we'll get it to you when we can.
The cool thing with this shawl, it's 2 skeins of fingering weight, and it doesn't matter whether they contrast. It doesn't matter whether
you can do high contrast,
are brights or lights or speckles or variegated. Like
it's fun. She designed
like,
it so it can be fun.
2 yarns.
Yeah.
Any 2 yarns. It's awesome.
And it's not super complicated. There's more design elements at the end of it that build on the theme. There's times when you're holding both yarns together, and there's times when you're not. It is going to be, as you can probably tell, it's a asymmetrical shawl. So you start with a few stitches and get bigger. And there's a boomerang shape to it. And that's in her instructions, how to make it. The boomerang is that it curls as it gets bigger. So it's fun. It's just fun.
It is looking really cool.
The other thing, local yarn store day, Cascade. I haven't done much. Maybe I showed this off on Thursday. I can't remember. But little. I haven't done much more, but Cascade is releasing a worsted weight wrap pattern. You need 3 skeins of Cascade 220. And I put in the newsletter this week, or a worsted weight yarn of equal or greater value. If you buy the equivalent, if you buy yarn for the pattern, we can give you a free copy of the pattern. So no code needed for that one, but Cascade has only sent it to local yarn shop store owners. So that's all kinds of fun. And we'll have other things happening on local yarn store day, because we know for some of you from far away, we are your local yarn shop. Yay! We got to go open the shop. So tonight we have virtual sit and stitch from 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. You can get in with the shop, and that's Eastern Standard Time or East Coast time on the US. Get in with the shop phone number
828-877-3550.
And tomorrow we will put a yarn on sale. Remember, this one, the Summer Delight, is on sale until tomorrow for 15% off. And then Thursday, if you have any questions, we will answer them in Dear Becky and Lizzie. And if not, we will talk about other stuff like the new colors of yarn we got in. Okay. And that's actually, this is yarn like this. It feels like this. That's wonderful. Okay, we gotta go. It's good to see everybody. We're gonna start our week now. Bye.
Bye. Happy Monday, Tuesday, whatever day. Bye.
Happy weekday.